Sir, before 2001, as an American citizen with a US passport, have you traveled all over the world using this US passport, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, on these travels using your US passport, you had to identify yourself as an American citizen in filling up immigration and customs form, right?
Mr. Lopez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, by the way, when you applied for a US passport as an American citizen, did you ever indicate in your application that you were also claiming Philippine citizenship?
Mr. Lopez?
The immigration forms that I've had to fill out did not have a provision addressing that particular question about my multiple citizenship.
Congresswoman Bautista?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So from your answers, it appears to me that during this part of your life, when you were living in the US, you were born as an American citizen, studying in American schools. During this entire time, did you ever take the US Pledge of Allegiance?
Mr. Lopez?
Your Honor, I did not.
Congresswoman Bautista?
Not even in the Pledge of Allegiance was part of school activities because, Mr. Chair, I remember, I studied here in the Philippines from elementary to high school and I remember from elementary to high school, after ng flag raising natin, di ba po, we raise our hand and we recite the Panatang Makabayan. So, I'd like to clarify with Mr. Lopez, did you partake in any of the activities that you had to do the same in the States?
Mr. Lopez?
Your Honor, I grew up in the Philippines and I went to grade school and high school in the Philippines. And I only went to college and my master's in America. When you go to college in America, it does not ask you to give an oath of allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Please continue, Congresswoman Bautista.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. By the way, in your school records in the US, did you ever indicate that you are a citizen of the Philippines?
Mr. Lopez?
Yes, Your Honor. I applied to my college and to my master's as a Filipino citizen.
Congresswoman Bautista?
While you lived as an American citizen in the US, did you ever vote in the US election?
Mr. Lopez?
Yes, Your Honor. I voted in 2016, the 2016 elections.
Okay.
Congresswoman Bautista?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So when you came to the Philippines in 1986, you were still using your American passport, correct?
Yes, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Lopez?
Sorry.
Please continue, Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Congresswoman Bautista?
In fact, you first got your Philippine passport in 2001, correct?
Mr. Lopez?
Yes, Your Honor.
So whenever you traveled to the Philippines under your American passport from 1986 to 2001, what type of visa was stamped on your passport upon arrival?
Mr. Lopez?
If I recall correctly, it was a balikbayan status.
Congresswoman Bautista, you still have the floor continuously.
Okay.
Dire-diretso ka po. Huwag mo na po ako hintayin. Si Mr. Lopez lang po ang maghihintay to be recognized.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, are you aware that being given a balikbayan visa or a 30-day visa, these visas are intended to be given for non-Filipinos?
Mr. Lopez?
It was never brought to my attention, but it was one of the reasons, perhaps, that in 2001, I applied for a recognition of my Philippine citizenship.
Okay. Sir, incidentally, did the upper management of ABS-CBN know that you were using an American passport and had no Filipino passport when you assumed leadership of ABS-CBN in 1986?
Mr. Lopez.
Your Honor, it was not an issue that was raised during our management hearings.
So your submission showed that you filed a petition with the Bureau of Immigration in 2001 for recognition of Filipino citizenship. During this process, were you asked to fill up an alien fingerprinting form?
Mr. Lopez.
Your Honor, this was so long ago, I don't recall if I were filed or filled out an alien registration form. But perhaps my lawyers can answer that question. Your Honor, would they be given an opportunity to answer on my behalf? They have the details.
Yes, the lawyer of Mr. Gabby Lopez is now recognized. Yung lawyer mo po ba, Sir Gabby, ay nakapag-take ng kanyang oath?
Ang lawyer ko po si Kayo Bautista, who is also our corporate lawyer. I think he is under a continuing oath.
Okay.
He's been a resource person for...
The lawyer of Mr. Gabby Lopez is now recognized. Please answer the question of Congresswoman Bautista.
Good morning po. Ano po uli yung tanong ninyo, Congressman Bautista?
Good morning, Attorney.
Ma'am.
Sir, my question was, your submission showed that you filed a petition with the Bureau of Immigration in 2001 for recognition of Filipino citizenship. During this process, were you asked to fill up an alien fingerprinting form?
ABS-CBN?
Sorry.
Yes, you're recognized.
Ang intindi ko po, hindi po ako sigurado, is that Mr. Lopez did file that alien form.
Okay. Okay, sir. So, were you, going back to Mr. Gabby Lopez, sir, were you advised to file this petition or did you find it necessary to do so yourself?
Yes, ABS-CBN.
Yes, Your Honor. It was in recognition of being a natural-born citizen that I took it upon myself to ask for recognition of my citizenship. My understanding from my lawyers was that I am a natural-born Filipino citizen because both my parents are Filipino citizens. But because I was not born in the Philippines, I did not have a Filipino birth certificate. So it behooved me to have a recognition by the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Immigration for whatever legal purposes I may use of that recognition po.
So, Mr. Lopez, is it correct in saying that this petition was indeed to settle issues regarding your citizenship, correct?
Mr. Lopez?
Opo, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, sir. I read somewhere that after this process and after you got your Philippine passport in 2001, you still traveled using your US passport. And there were still instances when you traveled to the Philippines using your American passport. Do you confirm this, sir?
Before I recognize Mr. Gabby Lopez, paalala lang po kay Congresswoman Bautista na lumagpas na po tayo sa 3 minutes and if you can, please wrap up at maaari ka po naming ilista ulit dito sa bilang ng mga magtatanong, Congresswoman Bautista.
Okay,
Mr. Gabby Lopez?
Your Honor, if my law be recognized to speak out on this specific issue?
Yes, Attorney.
Salamat po.